Hi, I'm Lisa Garr, and welcome to The Aware Show, a weekly show that brings you transformational tools and techniques that you can actually use today to inspire your positive growth and change in yourself and in others. Every single week, I will bring you new, cutting-edge information that will help you improve the quality of your life in any way you choose. Do you want incredible health, connected relationships, flourishing finances, cutting-edge science? Whatever it is, consider The Aware Show to be your trusted place for lifelong learning, because for over a decade, I have built trusting relationships with my guests and with my audiences. And if you're just new to The Aware Show, or if you've been a fan for a long time, I always encourage you to listen to your own truth and to stay aware.
Hi, I'm Garr, and I'd like to share with you that over the last 30 years of teaching, I've identified one particular story that runs through the collective consciousness. And that story is, I am not good enough. And people pick it up in different stages of their lives, mostly when they're children. At some point, they experience not having been living up to the expectation of like a parent or someone important to them in their lives. And then that pain was repressed, never fully expressed. And because that experience was repressed and never fully expressed, it continues to run your life. And for the rest of your life, you actually fail at things that you're excellent at, really good, that you could be very successful at, just because there's an underlying intention, an unconscious intention of validating the story. You want to keep it in place, the story called, I'm not good enough. And I will help you release that story so that you could actually have all the success that you obviously deserve in your life.
Hello and welcome to The Aware Show. I am Lisa Garr, and today we're talking about movement. Now, not just exercise, not just, movement that you usually hear it around exercise and weight loss. We're talking about brain movement, how to move the brain so that the body follows. This is a very incredible concept that is taught through the Anat Baniel Method. She is one of the world's leading authorities on this very thing, on finding ways to access the brain to overcome pain and limitation, and then as a result, increase vitality and well-being. She studied with the most amazing Moshe Feldenkrais, and that was her mentor, and a lot of her teachings are based on his method that then she has perfected and changed and morphed, and so she has an incredible background. Welcome, Anat. Thanks so much for joining me.
Hi, Lisa. Wonderful being with you again. Always love our time together.
Yes, and I recognize the brilliance in you. I know we've known each other for a long time, and I always look at you as just a gem in this world in terms of your knowledge and your commitment to your knowledge and really helping people with that. So can you help other people?
Thank you.
Help other people know what I know. What is the Anat Baniel Method?
Well, the Anat Baniel Method is basically an approach, both theoretical and practical, of ways to access the brain, to communicate with the brain, wake it up, and help it come on track to change, but in positive ways. So the whole method is based on the fact that the brain is the most responsive organ in our body to our experiences. It changes all the time. And in childhood, if the child is healthy and everything is working well, you see just an explosion of learning and acquisition of skills, and it's just magnificent to watch a child grow, right?
Yes.
In adulthood, we tend to see more the deterioration, which is a form of brain change too. And today, I have figured it out through my experience with people and knowing that it's the brain and figuring out what must be going on. It's kind of like, what are the conditions that drive the brain towards positive change, continued growth and learning, and what are the conditions that will drive it into negative change, like loss of flexibility, loss of mental acuity, sluggishness, more depression, aches, pains, just the opposite of where we want to be, right? And move. And the most exciting part, and I so love you being interviewed by you because you give me so much space to express that, is that we can change the direction or enhance the positive growth of the brain anytime, any age. That's the revolution. So first of all, the realization that that's possible is extremely powerful. Just changing the whole belief system of what might be possible. And the second one is the challenge. So how do you access that cache of, possibilities? And that's where my method steps in. How do we access it? It's not the only way to do it, but it's, by my experience, extremely potent way to do it.
You see, now there's so many aspects to what Anat does. And in the personal development circles, a lot of people know her work, and it's part of my mission on this planet to exalt what she does to the masses, because Anat truly has helped everyone from, the aches and pains of aging all the way through babies that are born with severe mental disabilities and allowed many of them to walk again. I'm not saying she's a miracle healer. I'm saying that she knows how to use the brain and knows the intricacies of the movement of the brain and how it works with the body. So it's hard to start anywhere with you because you have such a vast amount of knowledge. But let's talk about, you say a lot that the brain is an information system. What does that mean?
Thank you for asking that, because it's really important in order to have not just how to access the potentials of the brain and wake it up, but to trust it. So people really, because it's truly a paradigm shift. So what we're familiar with from birth on is what I call the mechanical system, right? Our body is alive, of course, the body, but it's mechanical. So I move my arm, it's levers, there's certain amount of strength, force, energy that I have to use in order to make it do this, make it do that, right? And we know by our experience, like if I push harder, usually it moves more. We have all kinds of learned relationships to the mechanical world, to the mechanical aspect of things. Information system, you can't touch it, you can't smell it, it doesn't have a size, it's not a mechanical system. And the brain, what it means is that the brain is the organ in the body that is the CEO of putting order in the disorder and making sense out of the nonsense. So we get a lot of stimulation, eyes, ears, all that stuff. I won't take a long time talking about it today. So it's just a flood, it's just like noise. And the brain is the system that has the ability to, and that's so important, perceive differences. So I perceive louder sound from a softer sound. I perceive E versus A, or I see red versus blue, or the line of the computer versus the line of the table. Now we take it for granted. When things work well, it's just like there. But if something doesn't work, anybody who's ever drunk a lot of too much wine or cocktails and knows how all of a sudden things don't make sense as obviously, that's your brain on too much alcohol. And that usually passes and you're okay the next day. But if people have concussion, for instance, they're discovering that concussions really are profoundly disturbing to the system in ways that up until recently, people were just thought to be like making it up. And, doctors used to say it's all in your head. That's right. It was all in the head, in the brain. Yeah. So we want a brain that is really awake and does the ability to notice and perceive differences finer and finer and quicker, and then pull it together, integrate it, because those perception of differences, when we perceive them, the brain shoots new connections in the brain. It's when we perceive and notice things, the brain literally structures and restructures itself. When we don't, we get sluggish.
Yeah.
We feel less, we understand less, we're slower. So the question is, how do we work with an information system rather than a mechanical system? And that's what my method is all about.
Okay, so let's just see if we can give people a little bit of an experience of what that's like. If they can find the subtle differences in working with the brain and see how they feel more balanced or alert or awake and so forth. And I also want to mention, if when you're watching the show, there's a link right below that leads you to an entire experience that Anat teaches, and a lot about the Anat Baniel teaching method, and where you can deeply get involved with this experience. It is essential for anybody who's looking for not only brain function, better memory, more awake energy, vitality, alertness, aliveness. It all begins in the brain. It's not another supplement. It's not a face lotion. It comes from inside the skull.
And it's there. It's always there. And I just want to add to that, my experience over all these years that I've been doing it, both with adults and children and high performers, musicians, dancers, and people that had stroke, and the whole gamut, is that once you create those conditions, the brain is a yes. It just wakes up. You start getting the changes instantaneously. So it can become a way of life, the way you walk, you can utilize it and bring it in anytime you want. And of course, the main tool is movement with the 9 essentials. But movement is the main job. I mean, the brain is busy organizing movement. About 96% of the brain activities is that. So movement is a great way to talk to the brain, to communicate. I say that the movement is the language of the brain.
Beautiful. Yes, yeah. I understand. Okay.
So I'm going to describe, I'm going to say it in words. We're not able to show it to people right now because both you and I are kind of cut halfway through the chest. But you can do the movement yourself, right? So come to the edge of the chair, everybody, if you're sitting. And obviously don't do it if you're driving. And lean on your hands behind you on the chair, on the seat of the chair. And now just make sure to do the movement very slowly, very gently, and small. And Lisa, if we have time, we'll explain to people why that is. So it's very unlike a normal exercise, class. And now you feel the weight, the contact of your pelvis with the chair, right? You're sitting on a roughly flat surface. And now slouch, let your whole spine get rounded. And then that means that the pelvis also rolls backwards. Did you feel it? The pelvis went backwards. And now lean on the hands, begin arching your back, push your belly out, and roll the pelvis forward. So I'm going to do it with you too. Don't throw the head back. And now don't push the back down. Just stop holding it up so you will slouch. You let the gravitational force do the work. And then you arch. And again, round your back, let it round, the pelvis rolls back, and arch. And now, for the audience, I don't know if you can do it, Lisa, but stand up for one moment on both feet. That's it. Stand up on both feet, and with the feet a little bit spread. And very gently shift your weight to the left leg, and if you can, bend the right knee and detach the foot a little bit from the floor. That means balance on your left leg. Okay.
Did it.
And now come back to the middle and shift your weight over to the right foot and do the same thing in balance and feel if it's, for most people, there's a difference. Now sit back down in the chair and let's see if we can impact that. So even if you balance fantastic, even if you're a gymnast that walks on a beam, you can always improve. That's the amazing thing about us as humans. We can always improve. Wherever we are, we can do better.
That's
so now lean on your hands behind you. Now, what I'd like you to do this time is actually arch more the right side of your back so your pelvis rolls over to lean on the left hip, but you're leaning on the hands behind. So the shoulders stay more or less where they were, and then come back to the middle. And now, arch again to the left. Don't do to the right because we're trying to create a difference. And now come back. And now imagine, go again forward, and imagine you're sitting on a clock and on the face of a clock, and you just move your pelvis towards 12 o'clock.
Okay.
And now you're going to the left to 11, to 10, to 9, to 8, to 7, to 6. Stay at 6. Don't go to the other half. We're doing only to the left. Go back 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And do this 2 more times at your own rate, but just make sure to visualize. So you are on 12, wherever that is for you, and then you move the pelvis and you let the ribs on the right side, get moving, and on the left, and you go like that hour by hour all the way to 6, and then you go reverse it, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Stop it, stand up on your feet, and now shift the weight over to the left leg again, and stand on the leg and feel if it's different. If you're more sturdy. Now shift your weight to the right. Is it less sturdy? Can you feel that?
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay.
Before I had
so this is a demonstration of providing some input or experiences to you, which means also your brain, where all of a sudden you make some distinctions, some differentiations that immediately the brain integrates to improve a function.
It's amazing that it can be through such small, minute movements. That is interesting. It's really tiny.
It's actually much more effective when you do it through small, minute movements.
Because
I know that's a paradigm shift. We're dealing with an information system. You're not kicking the radio anymore. It's digital. It's what happens is when you go small and minute, and you can actually notice it and feel it, your brain gets much more refined control over the parts of your body. Then you can use it for whatever you want. You can use it for skiing. You can use it for running. You can use it just for having better balance in your life. You can use it, you'll breathe better. I mean, so many things change simultaneously. The thing behind it all, and we just had a conference for our graduates this past weekend. It was spectacular. I'm going to send you the recordings. And we had Gio Balti-Taylor there, and Michael Merzenich, and all these people who were keynote speakers. And what Mike spoke about, which is what I've been saying, and it was just magnificent how he did it, is that the brain itself, that's my words, that's not his words, the brain itself can work on different levels of energy, of different qualities of organization, and different levels of potency. And once we do this kind of stuff, we potentiate the brain, all functions work better, including the autonomic nervous system, that means digestion, sleep. I've been observing this for years, and I've been saying it for years, and now I've got it coming from the neuroscience world saying the same thing. So the best thing to do is to get a good brain, a better brain.
Can these types of movements help with things like elevating your mood or depression or anything like that?
Not only that, there is research now that shows it. You uptake the brain, and absolutely. Actually, depression, one of the ways to see depression, if anybody has ever felt depressed, I certainly have. Actually, I used as a much younger person to have a lot of depression until I started doing this work. And what I realized is that when we're depressed, it's kind of like the idea to get up and wash a dish or something. It feels like huge effort. It's kind of like our whole ability to work against gravity and the readiness to move is downgraded and really muted. So that part with the depression is one and the same.
That's very true. And then when anybody tries to interrupt you, like a child, it becomes it's so much effort to say what, because you're in this chemical drunkenness.
Yeah, but everything is chemical. I mean, the brain is a combined chemical electrical system, right? So the communications within the brain, the movement is electrical, and then in the dendrite, in their connection to the next cell, it is chemical. It's all movement in the brain. I mean, the brain, Jill Boviteller also gave it, anyway, and she went like, the brain just wants to do things and wants to go places. And if you don't work it on this side, it goes to the neighbors and say, oh, maybe we can do something over here. And what happens when we get pain is we inhibit movement, we protect ourselves, or if we fail at certain things, we don't want to go there anymore. And coming back to your question, those small, delicate movements, so my essentials is reduce the force so you feel more. You see, movement with the attention to what you feel. The basis for brain change is movement combined with the feeling of self. If you take your attention away from what you feel, the mapping in the brain, the new connections, either don't happen at all or really a lot less. And then when you reduce the force, you make it smaller, you slow down, all those essentials, they make it that you amplify your ability to perceive. It's kind of like, if you're not sensitive to something, I can be really loud and forceful and you won't get it. But if you're attuned, if I do it very gently, you will feel more than if I do it forcefully.
It's amazing how that works. Just subtle movements that we've done on past shows have made such a big difference because you're really working directly with the brain. Now, could you tell us a little bit about what the offer is and how people can take this information to the next level? And then I want you to do another exercise. If you have the ability to do something that helps with depression so that we can really give people the ability to walk away with something simple. And then to take it to a deeper level, they'll understand.
It has to be a little more, but sure, anything to begin. So first of all, I'm so excited. We've offered it to our people, but you're the very first, and I'm so happy to do it on your show because I love you and your show and your people so much. I'm so excited about this program. I really love it. It's the latest one. It's called Vitality, Anti-Aging, and Well-Being. It's a 5-day workshop that was obviously professionally videotaped and edited, and it starts with what people call simple movements, and movement lessons. And so I don't have it in front of me. Actually, I forgot to take it, but I think it has 11 or 12 or something movement lessons. It has lectures. We go through each and every one of the essentials. We associate it with the movement lessons so people become familiar. They can integrate it into their lives. We have some demonstrations. And I believe there's 1 or 2 places where we also help people have ideas how to use touching another person as a way of communication, because this is the other huge part, is contact, is touch, is connection. It's really, really important for our well-being, is connecting. I always say, from fixing to connecting. We can fix nothing, but through connection, we can create a lot of good healing and learning and joy and so on. So it's a 5-day workshop, however many hours. I'm so sorry I forgot to bring the product.
5 days is amazing. And these are videos that show the movement so that you can do this at home. And and very important for, now, if anyone in our listening audience here knows someone or happens to be in the over 50 age range.
Sweetheart, this is good for 10-year-olds, for 20-year-olds, for 20, because when you do those movement lessons, the content of the lessons is not associated to your level of performance. I mean, there are movement lessons I cannot do with people right off the bat because they require already a much higher level of differentiation and skill. But these movement lessons, I've done them with Olympic athletes. You understand, you take the brain where it is and you refine and you allow it more complexity and dexterity, and you take that back to the running or to the whatever the athlete is doing or whatever the person, it's not I do it in a way that I make sure that people with limitations can also do it. But the miracle of this, it's not about what you already do. It's about providing new information to the brain to improve that which you're already doing, no matter what level. I know it's very foreign for people. I mean, I worked with, the artistic directors of orchestras and conductors and violinists and dancers. And I take dancers that perform Joffrey Ballet or wherever, they were performing at the time. And I do those seemingly simple stuff, but it gives the distinctions and differentiation that allows a much more refined, accurate, and potent skill and a wakefulness at the same time.
Amazing.
So anybody, I mean, if you're the top athlete in the world, do these lessons, you'll get better.
That is incredible, as well as if you're having issues with pain or even memory issues, anything that has, it really is all starts in the brain. I think the best way to understand this is when you become sedate, so many systems in your body and brain also become sedate.
Exactly, the downgrade, yeah.
Yeah, and if you think that you cannot, possibly get to the gym, that's so not needed. You have ways of using your body and working with the neural connections in the body, and I cross it because it works across the body, yes. That can work in such an amazingly effective way. The only way you will understand this is if you try it. So we're going to do one more little exercise here, and then I encourage you to go to the link below and get this 5-day movement course. And this is I love the listeners of the Aware Show, because you're lifelong learners. You want to learn. As Anat was talking about, the brain wants to learn. It wants to evolve. That's the whole point of it. So, okay, let's do something that would help with somebody to be a little happier, elevate our mood, get unstuck.
Yeah. So let me think of something that we can do. Maybe we will do. I have an idea, and I want to just say something about lifelong learner. I mean, when I was writing my first book, Moving to Life, the 9 Essentials for Lifelong Vitality, I worked with a wonderful co-author, and he asked me, so what's the vitality? I mean, I said, this is it. This is the life. It's the brain is built to continue growing throughout life. And research now shows that you can do it. I mean, there's beautiful research that shows you can reverse, the stagnation. Pretty much begin instantaneously. So let's do a movement lesson. And I love your audience because they're lifelong learners, and I don't know anything better to do.
Yes.
To learn and have a good life. So what we're going to do is we're going to, again, sit at the edge of the chair. And for a moment, put your hands on your knees. Your feet are spread, your knees are spread. And visualize your spine. Just visualize your spine. You can start anywhere, or you can start at the tailbone and go up through the spine to the base of your head. And visualize again from the base of your head, along the neck, upper back, middle back, lower back, and then the sacrum and tailbone. And so think of your spine from the tailbone all the way up. And now we're going to do a movement, but I'm going to ask you to just lean just on your left hand and feel how when you lean on your left, so your focus primarily is on your spine. And you lean, so the spine sort of moves in space, so the weight goes more through the left hand. And now when you're there, simply turn your head gently to the left and look to the left and bring the head back. And then turn it again, but next time you turn, listen to your spine and notice where do you actually feel movement? Life. Movement is life. Where you feel movement in your spine. And most of you probably feel it in the upper neck part of the neck. Mm-hmm. But the rest of the spine, if you were kind of like, if you allow me this language, is sort of like dead or asleep or gone, right?
Yes.
So now we've done this lesson before, but I'm using it differently. So lean on the left hand and put your chin kind of leaning on the top of your hand. And now, so you're going to again turn your head, but this time because you're keeping your head on your arm, notice that all of a sudden your spine is twisting.
Ah, yes.
and come back. You see, that's a trick, right?
Yes.
Keep leaning on the left hand and twist like that again to the left and listen to that spine of yours. Go so slowly that you have time to scan up and down, up and down. Where do you feel movement kind of like more like one chain, vertebra after the other? And where do you feel your spine moving like a chunk?
That's great.
You see, and if you have the ability already, depends on your previous experiences, see if you can actually listen to the left side of your spine, next to the left side, and next to the right side.
Yes.
And see if you can feel those muscles, those movements, this kind of like coming to life. And there are, even for me right now, there's an area on the right side of my spine that's kind of like, and I'll twist and stay all, and feel, by the way, how the back arches, the pelvis rolls forward and to the side, just like what we did earlier. So use that movement. One time, come back, pull your belly in, and don't let the pelvis move and twist. So the pelvis, belly in tight, and turn to the left and see what it feels like. And this is how many people try to turn. So now the next time, roll the pelvis forward, let the spine twist follow, let the right hip knee actually goes a little forward.
Yeah, you get so much more movement this way.
Exactly. So now block again the movement of your pelvis, pull the belly in, and then again, like, those tight belly thingies, keep the belly in, and then try to twist again and see what happens.
You can't
see how you can get yourself oiled really quick. And now let the pelvis roll, twist yourself, and see if you're twisting even more. You see, it impacts me too, even though I've done this many times.
Right.
And now stay twisted where it's comfortable. We're going to do one more variation. And gently move your eyes left and right. And as you move your eyes left and right, listen to the length of your spine. And notice if gradually you can start feeling something coming to life along the spine, even though it's the eyes that you're moving.
Oh, it's great. I mean, I really...
Now come back to the middle and rest for a second. We're almost done.
Woke my whole brain up. I yawned.
Oxygen. I mean, that's for me too. I mean, I feel like twice the size that I felt before we started the interview. I actually feel bigger, feel taller. I don't know, you guys feel yourself. And now, simply feel that spine, remember the pelvis rolling, and twist around yourself to look to the left. And feel even the front, the sternum, all this comes to life.
Yeah, you can look all the way behind you.
Without forcing, twist yourself to the right and feel the difference. Feel the difference?
Yes, a lot.
Keep that difference. You see, the difference, I'm not going to symmetrize it for people, but observe the difference. The perception of differences is the source of our intelligence.
Got it. Okay. Well, this took a little longer because the movements are very important. Anyone that just did that exercise, or go back and do it again, I want you to realize how awake you are feeling as a result of doing that tiny, just 5-minute exercise, and how much I'm noticing I'm clearer, I can speak more clearly, I'm not as sedate, I'm using my body more to talk. There's so much more, and that's just a perfect example of how that works.
Yeah, and your voice, by the way, the timbre of your voice just shifted.
Yes.
And also, the reason I did it the way I did it, that the muscles along the spine, the awakefulness of the whole spinal system and this whole area and the nerves that come out, the spine, is actually, when you wake that up, actually at this moment, do you have any depression to you?
No, and I have to write a speech after this, and I was going to take a nap. But I'm not going to do that now. I am writing this talk. I'm going to just knock it out because I know it. I know what I need to do. So
for people who feel depressed, it's very important to understand depression is not a thing. It's not like a box that sits in your body, even if it feels like that.
Yeah, it's a feeling.
If you can notice, Now I'm not depressed, and you feel depressed, and you're not depressed. You see that you will actually be able to move yourself, but especially if you do more of this work, where that's how I got out of the depression. When I was in my early 20s, I suffered from I didn't get treated because, I just managed somehow, I don't know, whatever. But when I became aware, this is depressed, this is not, that was over. It was just over.
Wow, amazing. So we need to wrap it up, but I want to tell our wonderful audience, go down below here, get the link, click on the link, and get the entire 5-day course. Go through this. It is a treat to yourself, to your family, your loved ones, your parents, your children, whoever. And this is just an amazing way to lift depression, get more energy and motivation, and move forward to make great changes in this world. Thank you so much, Anat. You're such a gift.
Thank you. And I'm going to thank Cliff in the background. I mean, you have an amazing, love you. Let's be in contact.
Thanks, Cliff. High five. Here we go. All right. Thank you all so much. And until next time, I invite you to stay aware.
Hi, I'm Coot. Every second of every moment of your life, you're either growing or you're not growing. And I believe that real success in life is not simply what you attain or achieve, or simply the fulfillment of a goal, but is the degree to which you grow and evolve as a soul and learn specific lessons along the way. And I think one of the beautiful things is if you shift your perspective from an acquisition-based perspective to a learning orientation. And sometimes we get comfortable doing the same things over and over and over and over again. And that in that comfort zone, we stop growing. So I believe that to truly be alive, you have to be continually growing. So one of the things I would ask you to sit with is, where am I actually succeeding? What am I actually doing well? And how is that stopping me from growing? How is that stopping me from the next evolution of my life? What actually scares you? And I believe that part of growth is moving and expanding outside of your comfort zone. So look at what actually scares you and go there. If you were to begin again, if you were to start from zero, would you actually be doing what you are doing in this moment? At the end of one's life, we take nothing with us but the degree to which we grow and evolve. So each day ask yourself, how much am I growing? Did I grow? And who am I becoming in the process?
Thank you so much for watching this episode of The Aware Show. Please leave a comment below and let me know what you think. And also, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I will give you some of my favorite bonus gifts. So if you want to subscribe also to my newsletter, you can find the link in the description below. Thank you so much, and until next time, I invite you to stay aware.